A couple years ago, I discovered that it's possible for a person to become closer to their authentic self through a pair of shoes. Now, I know when you think about shoes, you may not necessarily think about spirituality, but I know to be fully connected to the universe, we must also first embrace and accept the material world. I created a website called Soul Prescription, S-O-L-E, because sometimes we need things to help remind us of our intentions. We need symbols to help us maybe remember to use kind words or to look at a situation through a different lens. People use all sorts of talisman, mala beads, prayer shawls. I use my shoes. Now, I realize we have certain ideas of what spirituality might look like. For some, it may look like giving up material possessions, cutting off one's hair, wearing an orange robe, and meditating on a mountaintop. For others, it may look more like wearing a pair of yoga pants and having a daily practice on the beach. Yet for some, it looks more like wearing a turban, a burqa, or a crucifix. And these are all important signifiers. And when people give these signifiers meaning, it increases their power. And shoes are also really powerful, really powerful. We all want to live in our own shoes. We all want to walk our own unique path. And through Soul Prescription, I've discovered that that path can be one that's free from notions that the material world has to be an ugly and shallow place. Now, I've spent a lot of time thinking about spirituality and wondering if wanting things made me less spiritual. I used to wear my beat-up Birkenstocks and think that being poor, that somehow made me a better person. That wanting things was materialistic and greedy, and that matters of the heart and the mind were really worthy pursuits. And, that belief, it really worked well for me for a long time. It helped me deal with my feelings of inadequacy, feelings of jealousy. It really helped me when I was around someone that had more than I did. I sort of could feel a little bit better about myself. But it wasn't really truthful. I mean, so what if a person is materialistic? Does that mean they're not worthy of love? Or does that mean they can't possess wisdom? I mean, of course it doesn't. If we are spiritual beings having a human experience, then isn't the whole point to be in the world? To experience it, feel it, wear it, whatever it is? In that sense, we can't really separate ourselves. We can't really separate ourselves. Everything that is of a physical nature is of a spiritual nature as well. Now, the word material actually is a derivative of the word matter, which in Latin means mother. And the word mother is associated with giving life, creativity, and I think it's a pretty safe argument to say that anything that has ever been created in act is sort of an act of birth by a human being. And that everything that is in existence, that has been made or has ever been made, in some way is a spiritual act. I don't know, it sounds like some pretty spiritual concepts, but I still struggle with it. I want to live a life of purpose, something that makes a real difference in the world. I want to transcend the egocentric nature of my humanity and, just have a life of true meaning. And if I'm going to stand here and be real about it, I also really enjoy my fortunate circumstances. I love that I grew up in capitalistic, prosperous America. I like my home. I like my comfortable transportation. I like my access to clean food and water, and I like having a closet with several pairs of shoes. Heck, the fact that I even own a pair of shoes, it's something to be grateful for. And I think real spirituality, true spirituality, is standing here in front of all of you and being real and accepting all aspects of myself, everything that is present in my experience, which, for me, it is that divinity, and it's simultaneously the desire that is present. Now, I've lived a pretty varied life. I've met all sorts of people. I've met anyone from monks that were unsatisfied with the monastic lifestyle to movie stars who felt uncomfortable or embarrassed about some of the attention and the gifts that they received. And, most of my girlfriends, they sort of sit somewhere in between the monk and the movie star extremes. On whole, they're educated, they're well-read, and they're seeking lives of purpose. And when we get together, our conversations sort of naturally flow between topics such as Obamacare, to the meaning of life, to becoming better parents. And I'm not kidding, this new amazing lipstick that I discovered, it holds for hours. It's amazing. And that happens naturally in about 15 minutes. And, we're simultaneously superficial and meaningful. We have purpose and we're silly. And you know what? That's really okay. As long as I'm being myself and expressing everything that's in my personality, all aspects of it, everything that's in my heart without self-judgment, then I think it's all right. I have an inner girly girl inside of me. I like to put on makeup, I like to curl my hair, I like to wear elegant clothing, and I spend a lot of time thinking about shoes. Does that make me a frivolous person? I also have another aspect of me that's sort of a no-frills hippie. I throw my hair in a ponytail, I don't wear a lot of makeup, and I can be seen hiking in sweatpants and hiking boots. When I'm wearing those clothes, does that make me a thoughtful person? It means I'm in the world, and being in the world means taking care of my material responsibilities. For me, those material responsibilities look like getting dressed, combing my hair, brushing my teeth, exercising, taking care of my physical body. They also look like internal responsibilities, which for me means forgiving myself for the judgments that I hold against myself or others. It also means holding to my intentions when the world feels like a dark and dangerous place. And I use my shoes to help me do that. A couple of years ago, I had what I consider a soul awakening. I was having one of those days where I just felt really blue and off balance, and I just couldn't shake it. I was trying everything. I was doing my mantras and trying to get myself into a more centered space. And I looked down at my shoes, and I wondered if my wobbly heels had something to do with my unsteady state. So I kicked off my shoes, and I put on a pair of ballerina flats that I keep in the back of my car, and I instantly felt more grounded, more centered, just more in alignment than I had all day. Not just physically, but emotionally, too. And I felt myself starting to move with the dancer's grace and steadiness. And it was such a powerful experience. I wondered, could there be a pair of shoes that could help me in any situation? I mean, was it possible that I could use a shoe to help me mend a broken heart? What about if there was a shoe that could actually help me harness my inner strength? And this one was sort of the kicker, but what if there was a shoe that could help give me a sense of inner peace? Well, I turned my closet into a pharmacy. And actually, I turned my closet into a medicine cabinet. And I became the pharmacist. And I started prescribing myself a different pair of shoes that had a quality that I wanted to step into. There's actually NASA science that says when we repeatedly think a thought, actual physical changes occur in the brain, making it easier to not only think that thought, but to act upon it. So essentially, positive thoughts can create new behaviors. No joke, the rocket scientist said so. So for me, what if I could take a pair of shoes every day, every morning? I choose a pair of shoes that represents an intention or a quality that I want to step into. So for instance, today I wanted to step into some inner confidence. So I put on a pair of red high heels. Another day, I may feel a little bit out of my sense of integrity, so I'll put on a pair of cowboy boots to really help me step into my sense of honesty. If I'm feeling a little bit insecure and unsafe, I'll wear a motorcycle boot to really help me hone into that sense of security. While none of these sartorial choices are good, bad, holy or unholy, they all really can affect the way that I feel and help me hold on to an intention and feeling, not just for the moment in the act of getting dressed, but for the entire day. I take the time to dress as good as I feel inside. And if I'm not feeling great, I use getting ready as an opportunity to love myself. If the body is really a temple, then how do you dress it? Objects can be meaningless things, or they can be powerful tools for spiritual growth, depending on one's intention and desire. And for me, shoes are just those tools. I believe it's truly possible to change your life one shoe at a time. Thank you.